All right, what it do, everybody? It's your boy LG from Where There's Smoke. It's been a fat minute, and just want to get back in the swing of things. And yeah, without further ado, let's just kind of jump into this one. I'm gonna be covering the Jubilee discussion recently, One Man versus the Manosphere. Uh, I have watched a decent, good bit of Red Pill content, especially when Fresh and Fit first hit the scene. I was a pretty big fan. And then it's one of those things where once you see it so many times, you kind of fall out of it because it's kind of the same thing. And that's not a bash on the show. It's more of a personal thing. Once you get all the information, it's good to check back in time to time for like entertainment value, but to watch a show every night, I don't know if there's value in that necessarily. At least for me, there wasn't. I needed to kind of take a step back and just kind of focus on other things in life. But I definitely found value and truth in a lot of things that are shared on those, on Fresh and Fit specifically, and other Red Pill platforms. Now, is everything they say 100% gold? No, but a lot of things they say are interesting talking points. I do think they're right on a lot of things, and I think just to say, okay, not everything they say is good, so that everything they say is automatically trash is stupid. I think there's some nuance to it, and a lot of times in these debate shows, when these people are like had on these bigger platforms and considered quote unquote debate professionals, or at least good enough to be paid, or had on these big platforms, I feel like they miss some of the nuance and some of the things that I'm trying to be centered in the camera. Some of the things I would find myself saying, and some of the nuance, and some of the things where I feel like they could build a bridge with between a point and try to find some common ground. Sometimes they do. Sometimes I feel like they miss out, and that's where I'm gonna kind of backseat drive, if you will, and just kind of give my input. Now, this guy, not sure of his name. I don't know. I guess we could. They might do it in the beginning of this video. Anyway, has this guy here on the left versus 20 Manosphere. Oh, Mark Manson. Duh. We're not gonna watch the actual video. As you can see, I watched most of it, the first hour. I was kind of in and out, like playing games and watching other stuff too. But I did watch a good bit of it. But I actually wanted to watch a conversation between the Mark Manson and I'm assuming someone at Jubilee. They did a surrounded follow up here. Let me make sure I'm showing this to y'all. Yes, I am. Okay, good. So I got what has the Manosphere? Oh, what has the Manosphere taught us? Obviously, like I said, it's a follow up. This original conversation was only 3 or 4 days ago. We're the 23rd now. This was on the 19th. So, and then this follow up was a day ago. So let's see if we get an actual. Yeah, 22nd. So it's about an hour long. We'll see how much we get into and if it's worth watching the whole thing. And let me check the stream quality real quick. Video looks good. Let me check audio, and then we'll jump into it. Give me 1 second. All right, audio sounds good. Let's jump in.
Actually, when you look at the research of like what makes for a happy relationship, these things aren't even on the map.
Okay, so if a woman has, let's say, 12, 13, 17 bodies, how many relationships have you been in? 3.
Because women are exactly like cars, obviously.
Relationships with women is largely transactional, and when you are approaching a relationship in a transactional way, you're trying to get the best deal possible. Porn consumption.
I feel like this talking point's going to be hit on many times, and we're going to have a chance to really flesh it out more. But the way they say, oh, men look at relationships transactional. Okay. Everybody looks at everything in life transactional. That's like people say love unconditionally. There's almost no such thing. Maybe between parents and a child, there's unconditional love. That's even, excuse me, that's even arguable. But there's almost no such thing as unconditional love. So like men in these relationships are transactional. Every relationship is transactional. Even if it's in the most wholesome way, you are going to and should be, as a man or as a woman, when you're getting into a partner with someone, say, is this person going to make my life better? And do I have the intention of making their life better? If no, then what the hell is even the point? So things are transactional in life. Even when you're trying to do things good. I'm going to give up X, Y, and Z because it's going to make me a better person. That's a transaction. Even though it's in a good sense, I'm going to give up this because I'm going to get closer to God. Or I'm going to give up this because I'm going to give up soda because I want to shape my body and work out and be healthier. That's a transaction. Everything is transactional. So he's like, oh, men are transactional relationships. It's like, dude, that's sort of the nature of life in a way.
Assumption disproportionately harms men.
All right. I'm here with Mark Manson. Great job in Surrounded. Thanks for jumping into the arena, and thanks for doing this follow-up.
Of course, it was an experience.
It was an experience. See how he's coming in like, I had to. It was an experience. Both these guys with these faggy hairdos and these, I'm going to say probably center / a little left-wing fags that, whatever. We can go to the whole thing. But, like, he's coming in here with a little bit of smugness and a little bit of, like, I'm better than all those guys I had to put up for 20 minutes. I don't know how I put up with it. And he's, like, looking up this, like, It's like, you could have been wrong about several things you think you were right about. Just because someone you talked about is dumb, in your opinion, which I'm not saying they were, or they didn't adequately... they were not adequately able to describe what they were trying to and get their point across well enough, doesn't mean they were on the wrong side of the argument. So, but he's already coming to this super smug, like, yeah, I'm the one who was right. I had to sit here with these retards for 20 minutes. And,
It was Surrounded. Thanks for jumping into the arena, and thanks for doing this follow-up.
Of course, it was an experience.
It was an experience.
Again, an experience that he signed up for. So that means you got something out of it, right? Again, with the transactional. If there was not something good about it, why would you have signed up for it? Either you thought it was going to be a good opportunity to relate to these guys and hear them out, change their mind with your opinion, get exposure from Jubilee, possibly get paid. Like, there is some reason that you did this. You didn't just roll out of bed and roll into Jubilee, okay?
You're not like a debate me bro. That's not kind of your brand as much. Have you done anything remarkably similar to Surrounded?
No.
You're not a debate me bro, but you came from the heights of your academia down here to show these fucking manosphere retards a lesson. These debate bros. Debating is actually one of the fucking smartest things you can fucking do. Because you're not just settling on whatever the fuck is presented to you. You're questioning, and you're wanting to get answers. And I could probably know more debate terms and know more of the dance to it. But it's like, debating is not something to just be, oh, these debate bros. It's like, no, we need more debate. And that's one thing I will say. In the past 5 to 10 years, debates have gone through the roof. And that is one thing I will say with technology and the internet and just our society in general. I would have to say congrats to us. Now, all of them fruitful? Maybe not. But we are having a lot more debates and a lot more discussions where people can hear each other out in long-form content. And then people at home can make their own decisions. So I think that's one thing we have gotten better. And I'm going to clown these guys a lot, I have a feeling. But I will give this guy credit for being willing to sit down, being respectful, hear these guys out, even if he totally disagreed and didn't take any of it and thought it was all crap. He still was able to be peaceful, and that's something that is commendable and that I like. So I'm still going to salute him for that.
Normally, I would not be interested in doing this at all, but given the topic was the manosphere, and I guess kind of given the unique nature of where my career started and my history with these types of guys, it actually felt like a
So anyone that believes in the red pill or the manosphere, or that has benefited in some way from some of their teaching, these types of guys, it's almost like anyone that has learned anything from that, or think about how many men have. Again, you don't have to take every single thing from every single manosphere guy and take it as the gospel, but he's almost shitting on anyone who's ever learned anything good from someone in the manosphere. If they all had all crap to say, no one would. I feel like I'm the Trump. If they all had all crap, though, no one would listen to any of them. So, like, can they be wrong sometimes? Yeah. Can some of their anecdotes or solutions or thoughts on what we should do about a certain problem be overkill sometimes? Yeah, maybe. But they do have a lot of things right about where things are going wrong. They do have a lot of solutions that are good and appealing. So from just, oh, these guys, this type of guys, I have a history with these type of guys. Yeah, and we have a history with people like you who, even though we're trying to correct the ship and be more respectable as men and stand on some certain things, we have dudes like you who are like, oh, we need to soften it up a little bit and not be so like, don't be so scientific when that it's almost like the women when they're like, oh, it's weird that you're taking so much time to figure out all this stuff about dating. It's like you're trying too hard. That's weird. He's almost shaming talking like to debate bros. It's like anyone that debates something or looks into something further or tries to get down to the root of something and figure it really out. He's like, oh, those kind of guys. I have a history with those kind of guys. It's like, dude, and people on the red pill, we have a history with guys like you
Great opportunity.
that are in the way when we're trying to, like I said, stand on something, correct the ship, learn when we need to be hard in society and when we don't need to be, when we need to stand up for ourselves, when we need to say, okay, I took this girl on 2 or 3 dates and she won't text me back or give me the time of day. I'm done with her. Certain stuff. Standing up for yourself doesn't mean being a dick. It just means don't get ran over. And so, but sometimes it has to be packaged in a certain way when, anyway. Sometimes packaged a certain way, it's more appealing to us, and that doesn't mean the rhetoric is gonna sound appealing to women. But sometimes red pill shit is not meant for women. Just like makeup and going shopping to the mall is not meant for men. So, anyway.
And I felt well positioned to be the person to do it, I guess you could say.
Man, I'm stopped up. Give me a second. I'm gonna pop an allergy pill. Stopped up like a mug. Let me make sure my centering is decent. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's always been a manosphere-ish like strain in our culture, especially American culture. Would you consider yourself like kind of adjacent to that? Like you were in kind of like the self-esteem, self-help kind of niche of culture. Your book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, very popular book kind of at the time it came out. Did you see yourself as sort of like adjacent to kind of that niche of culture when it came out, but obviously it's turned into something different now? How do you think about it?
So to go back even further than that, like well before I wrote Subtle Art, I built my first audience online as a dating relationship coach in the late 2000s, early 2010s. And as a young man dating relationship coach, it was inevitable that I would start kind of bumping up against today what we call the manosphere. Back then it was called the red pill. There's also kind of a branch of it called the pickup artists.
I think it's still pretty much called the red pill, but anyway, that doesn't really matter.
That's what I'm
so
most familiar with, like the pickup artist era.
Yes.
Yes. He was so happy because the pickup artist ones are the ones they can demonize the most, and they can really make that portion of it look, oh, yes. He's like, let's talk about those guys. Look at them both smiling. Those are the greasy ones that we can make the most fun of. Yes. Because it's not talking about male improvement or accountability. It's just talking about hooking up with women, and we know that's greasy, so we can really shame them. Yeah.
H1 had a show, right?
Yes. It had a whole moment. So I used to run into these guys all the time. Like, I mean, honestly, early in my career, these guys were
Who cares?
my clients. And I remember getting into these debates with them around women and sex and relationships and what is healthy and what is natural and what is normal and smart. Some of them have actually done quite a bit of digging into evolutionary psychology and sociology and history.
You don't say.
And so I remember kind of going through a phase at that time of feeling like I needed to educate myself on a lot of these sorts of topics or topics adjacent to this, just because I just found myself arguing with so many of these guys. So it was
See, not debating, arguing. It's like, did you learn anything? Or did they have any points that were true? Did he say, oh, at first I was They kept maybe he will. They kept hitting me with this point, and I kept saying this, and then eventually I realized I was a little wrong on that. I want to hear something like that because I feel like there could not be a way that you debated these guys and talked to them and knew about them for years and years and years, and they have not one of their points or one of their talking points are correct, even just a little. There's no way. Then like they just really have everyone that hoodwinked. And if they're that bad, you should have dispelled all their bullshit long ago, and there would be no reason to come on this surrounded thing today and get stumped a little bit like he did. And I think we're going to see, or did we already see? No, we're going to see coming up. It's like you didn't just clutch up every single point like there's nothing to it, and these guys don't have any valid points. So let's continue.
The Surrounded episode in many ways felt like a little bit of a full circle moment for me in that I think now I'm kind of the older generation. I'm in my 40s, and I think most of the guys there were probably 20s or early 30s. And I've been both shocked and a little bit alarmed that this strain of thinking has come back with such a vengeance over the last few years.
You can thank feminism. You can thank feminism. If we weren't getting ran over by this feminist way of thinking, there would be no need for the red pill. If men didn't feel like they were getting cheated, would they need people that are like, hey, you're getting cheated. We can teach you how to stop it and how to get it back on course. Would we even need those kind of people if we didn't feel fucking cheated? Do you think men want to be victims? Do you think every man wants to be a victim and wants to say we're things are fucked for men? But I guarantee you 95% of men are going to say that if you really have a conversation, they might initially say, oh, no, man. But if you ask a few follow-up questions and have a 5-minute conversation on some level, 95% of men are going to be like, yeah, things are not the way they could be for men. I mean, come on, dude. Everybody knows it. Everyone might not want to motherfucking admit it, but everyone fucking knows it.
It's been troubling to me. And so, you know, when you guys reached out, like I said, I don't like to do debate type of things. And
then why the fuck did you do it? Oh, this is my chance to come out of my retirement and really just show these red pill debate bros what the hell's going on.
You know, get in arguments on the internet. In fact, I generally avoid arguments on the internet. But when you guys reached out, I was like, okay, I feel like...
Look at how smug these two fuckers are. It's like, dude... Oh, I don't usually do debates. Yeah, because you probably fucking lose all the time.
Like, I have to do this.
Yeah, well,
You know who debates all the time and never running from a motherfucking debate? Andrew Wilson. I've watched some of them, pieces of them. I haven't watched a full whole debate of his. I probably should, but I don't think he loses a hell of a lot of them. He ain't ducking no smoke. Be like, oh yeah, I usually don't debate. Yeah, because you're fucking scared. I mean, that's not a hard one to figure out.
Appreciate it, and I think that shows though just the general energy, and you'll see in these clips because you haven't seen any of the footage as we're recording this. In the clips, it's not a very debatey energy. You're not a combative person relative to some of our previous guests.
Yeah, it's not a debating energy because you're just smug half the time. God, it's grossing me out the way these two are acting right now.
And I'm really excited to jump into this because obviously I'm also a man, and these topics weave.
I'm obviously a man. Are you?
Through my experience. Before we go,
are you fighting for what's in men's best interest? Or are you just like succumbing and going to the weakest possible thing? And are you just like a yes woman? You just say yes to women all the time. Not a yes man. You're a yes woman. Yes woman. Yes. Obviously, I'm a man. He barely got that one out. Let me tell you,
Michael. I want to do guests, and I'm really excited to jump into this because obviously I'm also a man, and these topics weave through my experience. Before we go to Michael, I want to do... Joe Mari had a metaphor for body count, which was essentially buying a car.
Because women are exactly like cars, obviously.
There's certain
preposterous
miles on one car versus another. He's kind of using that as an analogy for body count. I'm obviously going to buy the car with fewer miles. And this exchange happens just shortly after that.
And so that's what...
Don't you think if any man or woman could get married to a person that had never dated anyone else, they would want that? in your, like, I know that's like oversimplification and like some fairy tale shit, but if you could have someone that never dated anyone else and got any of their drama, red flags, bullshit, and all that, and I'm not saying they can't know what other people, like, obviously they're gonna be around other people and know what's good and bad and know when someone's like, they're gonna know who is right to marry based off like how people treat them and how that person makes them feel and all these other things. But like, wouldn't you rather have the person you're gonna be with forever and your husband or wife, wouldn't you rather that person never dated anyone at all ever? Of course, I think we all would want that. But we like, oh, compare a woman to a car. It's like everybody would have a brand new car if they could. And everyone, if they could, would have a person. It's not even about the virgin thing. It's about having someone that has never had eyes for anyone else but you. Now, obviously, that's extreme, and no one really ever gets that. But if we all could, I think we all would. So he's like, oh, it's preposterous. Men just judge women. It's like, get the fuck out of here.
Everybody thinks about and talks about when it's actually when you look at the research of like what makes for
and it's crazy, it tends to be the people that have been with more people and have been more sloppy. If they're a low vibrational person, they'll be the ones that care about you having been with less people. I dated someone like that who they had been with far more people than me, and they were the one that cared about, oh, who all have you been with, how many people, and all that. It's like, dude, you're the one who has been with more people. Like, so from my experience, and I think a lot of people can agree with this, the person that usually cares a lot about who all you've been with and like super holding it against you, that's the person usually that has insecurities about that. And anyway, if someone's wanting to like hold that kind of stuff, if it's a standard, hey, if you've been with that many people, I don't want to date you, cool, say that early on. But if you wait way into it, and this is a whole other thing, but it's okay to have standards. It's not okay to use your standards against people. If you have your standard in the beginning, fine, made it clear. If it's not cool, you go your separate ways. But to be like, and I think this is something he would say, and I would actually agree with him, holding the body count thing and like really like holding it over someone's head or asking about it and holding a grudge and all, like, it's just like, fuck all that. But like, it is okay to have as a standard. So I kind of maybe went off the tracks there, but what was
No, I'm obviously going to buy the car with fewer miles.
Oh yeah, the fewer miles thing. At the end of the day, if everyone could, everyone would want someone that had never been with anyone at all, even dating wise. And I'll kind of stand on that.
And this exchange happens just shortly after that.
And so that's what everybody thinks about and talks about when it's actually when you look at the research.
And by the way, women nowadays are the ones with far more bodies than men. As we all know, it's easier for women to sleep. Here we get into the red pill stuff, and they're going to talk about some of this stuff too. But it's far easier for women to sleep with people than for... It's easier for women to sleep with men than for men to sleep with women. So when a man and a woman get together, usually the woman has a far higher body count than the man. And, you know, I would like to hear more about this, but from my experience, it's the women, if anything, who care about that. Well, that was one fucked up scenario I was in, so maybe that's not true overall. Anyway, let's continue. But yeah, everybody wants somebody with, like, no history.
Of like what makes for a happy relationship. These things aren't even on the map.
Okay, so if a woman has, let's say, 12, 13, 17 bodies, how many relationships have you been in? 3. What's up with the other 14 people?
She probably likes to party.
Then go.
Is that something good you would want in a wife? Someone that likes to party? I want to see what their responses are here after the fact that they can sit and think about it in clarity and they're not like in the moment.
Go party. We don't have to be together. But you can.
Or maybe she used to like the party, but now she's ready to settle down.
Not with me. Go. If you can decide who you open your legs for, you can't decide who gets down on one knee for you.
Can I ask why not with you?
If everybody's had a turn and nobody's enjoyed it, why do I want to get you now?
Bingo. If you've dated 3 different people and you've had sex with 15 different people, how come none of those people wanted to take you seriously long term, and the 3 that didn't work out? That's a red flag. That's just like a dude that says, yeah, I've been with 3 different people and slept with 15. It's like, how come? It's a little different with a dude, but it's like, you still had 3 relationships. How come none of those worked? It's the same shit. A lot of this stuff, it can be more important for a woman, and they're focusing on talking about women right now because it's the red pill, and the women are the ones that are on trial and on discussion right now. But a lot of the stuff they say would be true for a man too, even if it's for a lesser degree. If there's a man that's been like Yeah, I've had 10 relationships. It's like, and how come none of them were anything? It's like, that's a little weird. Is it as bad as the woman? No, it's still a little weird. If a dude's, I've slept with 200 people, it's like, all right, well, obviously you have a problem with lust. Like, is it as bad as it is with a woman? No, but it's like, if you don't get that in check, you're going to end up sleeping with somebody that's going to drag you down. So, you know, a lot of these things are not good for men too, even if it's to a lesser degree than how bad it is for women. That's something I wanted to say too. I wonder if this guy, Mark Manson, was presented with that, if he would agree with that.
All right, we got pause there. You've been voted out.
To quote what he said, if you're spreading your legs for these people, why do I want to get down on one knee for you? So there is.
If you're watching right now or you see this later in the rebroadcast, do you think Red Pill's stupid? Do you enjoy watching Red Pill? And more than that, what do you think about when these guys like this go on these shows and debate Red Pill, either people or people that are fans of the Red Pill / Manosphere? And do you enjoy it? Do you think it's like kind of dumb and not really like, do you think it's just funny for entertainment? Do you not really enjoy it? Or like, just let me know. You might have a different opinion. I'm not listening, but like, what are your thoughts whenever someone that's not in the Red Pill debates people that are in the Red Pill? Do you watch it? Do you think, oh, this is a waste of everyone's time? Or do you think, I want to see who comes out sounding smarter? Or do you always side with the Red Pill? Do you always side against the Red Pill? Let me know what you think when people not in the Red Pill debate Red Pill people, and what are your thoughts on that? That's kind of my main question for this video. I think a lot of times the people outside of the Red Pill don't take the Red Pill guys seriously and honestly look enough for where they have common ground and then really dissect why and where they disagree. I did see that from this guy, Mark Manson, a few times, and if they don't show it in this video where they're reviewing it, perhaps at the end I'll go back and try to find him in that original video. But anyway, we'll see how it's going and how I'm feeling, and you know, if the stream's on a roll or if we're kind of ready to wrap it up. But anyway, let's continue.
Is sort of a consequential negative valence that he's putting on sex. What's your reaction, just sort of that framework?
Here's the thing. I have recently come to think more and more like this the older I get. But like in this society, we view sex as like, oh, sex ain't a big deal. Oh, women, free body. Women can show their on Instagram, Facebook, which is kind of like a thing of the past. But like Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, women can show any and everything, and there's no shame. There's no body fat shaming. You can be as big and fat as you want, like Lizzo. You can be as skinny as you want. You can show all your body. Women can have like way more leniency to do things they want that are audacious than men in this society. And so they just have no reins. And I forget where I was going with this.
A lot of these
Sort of a consequential negative
Oh, yeah.
valence that he's putting on sex. What's your...
There is a consequence. Ah, man, I had a really good point when I was going. I forgot how I was gonna like wrap it up. Damn.
reaction, just sort of that framework?
A lot of these guys, in my experience, they see female sexuality as almost kind of like a scarce resource.
Dude, man, how did I forget what I was gonna say? Well, here's another point. I'll see if the other one comes back. But one thing is, a lot of times when you ask women their body count, they don't want to tell you. And the reason is because they know inherently their sexuality is tied to their value in some way as a woman. That's why women wear makeup. That's why they show their body on Instagram and everywhere, because they know their sexuality is their main agency. That's why you see women, especially on the Fresh and Fit podcast and other podcasts, they're doing OnlyFans and porn and stuff and saying, I'd rather do that than date my man. I would never give up. I would give up Instagram before I would give up my relationship and all this kind of stuff. Man, I had another good point though.
Nobody's enjoyed it. Why do I want to get you now?
All right, we got pause there. You've been voted out.
To quote what he said, if you're spreading your legs for these people, why do I want to get down on one knee for you? So there is sort of a consequential negative valence that he's putting on sex. What's your reaction?
Oh, we live in a society where we promote sex, and sex has no meaning. That's what I was getting around to saying. And these guys are like, oh, sex. He's putting this negative, this thing on sex. This whatever he just said. Negative convalence. Is that what he said?
So there is sort of a consequential negative valence that he's putting on sex.
Negative valence. Here's the thing: we have become so relaxed with sex and so okay with women sexualizing their bodies and so okay with them having sex and saying that it means nothing and that you can just have all the sex you want and it doesn't mean anything. You should not be shamed. If you want to be a single mother of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids, if you want to be a lesbian, if you want to be gay, even though that's a whole separate thing, if you want to be a lesbian, that's fine. If you want to be a single mom, that's fine. If you want to have sex every night of the week with a different guy, that's fine. If you want to have a roster 2 or 3 niggas, oh, you go, girl, you're a baddie, and all this stupid shit. None of this is leading to a better society. And then we'll be like, where's the good men at? Even if there were good men, do you think he would want a fucking hoochie mama that's posting about sleeping with different people every day and posting pictures of their cleavage and their ass and all this shit? It's like, what kind of dude that's actually worth his shit would want you? And most of these women have sons. So it's like you're seeing your son think that that's an okay way for a woman to present herself. And it's not. And then these women will turn around and be like, oh, I don't want X, Y, and Z for my son. It's like, but you're teaching him that that's okay because you're acting a certain way. And then, like, man, it's just, I think we can all agree that sex being such a cheap commodity is not a good thing. And women are like, oh, these fuckboys. Every woman hates a fuckboy. There can't be fuckboys if you don't allow them to fuck. There can't be fuckboys if you don't let them fuck. So there needs to be accountability on both sides. But with that being said, there needs to be accountability on both sides. Women, don't be fucking fuckboys. And as men, we need to not be giving attention to basically most women. Now, if a woman, like, help a person as a person. But don't be giving women sexual energy. Don't flirt with them. Don't be giving them eye contact. Don't be fucking doing things that you wouldn't do for a fellow man. If you would open that door for a man, open that door for the woman. If you would just ask yourself when you're doing this, would I do this for a dude? And if the answer's no, don't fucking do it. It's too much. It's got to be too much. And this is the kind of thing the red pill people say. They're like, oh, you're thinking about it too much, or you're being, whatever the fuck naggy shit they would say. Fuck that. We have to correct the madness. I think, anyway, I could go on and on, but this country's going downhill, and this is one of the reasons that the battle of the sexes or just intersexual dynamics is fucked. And we have to take accountability. We can't just act like men and women are the same. Sex doesn't mean anything. And you can do whatever you want. There's no consequence. Oh, he's treating sex like it's like, just, dude, give it a break.
What's your reaction, just sort of that framework?
A lot of these guys, in my experience, they see female sexuality as almost kind of like a scarce resource. And it's like if she has expended it with other men, then she's a less valuable asset. And I have a feeling we're probably going to kind of come back to this theme quite a bit throughout our conversation, because this is kind of the meta thing that's happening, I think, with a lot of these men, is that
here's the cold hard truth. Every time you lay down with someone, there's a chance y'all could have a kid together. Do you want to take that chance with just anybody? The older and older I get, I fucking don't. It's like, unless me and you want to have a kid together, I don't want to lay down with you. So everyone acts like sex. No thing. You can. There's protection and there's abortion. It's just like, how about don't have sex unless you want to have a kid with the person? How about that? How about we have some fucking morals and something we stand for? You know, we used to look up to certain people, like great athletes, like Michael Jordan and Kobe and other great athletes. Those are people that I think are great because I love basketball. But everyone has great athletes they look up to. You know what it takes to be a great athlete? Dedication to something. But we can't even be dedicated to the purity of our own bodies and caring about who the fuck we fuck. We're just like, oh, I'll fuck anything. It's like, why? Shouldn't we want to have sex with someone that actually matters? I think there's no doubt about it that you've had sex and then afterwards feel like, I shouldn't have fucked that person. It's like, why do we want to be going around doing that all the time? He's like, oh, we should place all these things. It's like, how about we have some fucking, how about we stand for something?
ultimately for them, relationships with women is largely transactional. And when you are approaching a relationship in a transactional way, you're trying to get the best deal possible. And so when you're trying to optimize,
we're trying to keep women from being whores. What the fuck is wrong with you?
for the best deal possible, it makes sense that you start kind of objectifying and quantifying a lot of these things. The problem is that A healthy relationship is by definition not transactional. It's in many ways unconditional, right? It's a mentality that I think is self-defeating, and I think it kind of undergirds a lot of these sexist or misogynistic attitudes that these guys have.
Yeah.
Dude, life is sexist. Women are weaker than men. Women can have children, men cannot. What the fuck? Sexist is real. It's real to be sexist. Dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're a sexist, misogynist. Don't women want to be protected by men? That is sexist. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. Something that also came to mind during that exchange was, I think actually culturally so much has changed, even since kind of my coming of age experience and probably yours as well. And now, sex feels so much higher stakes now than it does. And so
No, it doesn't. That's the problem.
when he kind of said somebody has a lot of bodies, you're like, she's probably likes to party. That actually made me think more of like the early 2000s and what I just remember kind of.
Dude, hoes still party. Men don't. That's the fucking problem. Men stay cooped up in our fucking houses. This nerd hasn't been out in the coon's age. Oh, partying used to be more a thing.
Sleeping around being like much more normalized at that time.
Dude, you are so fucking out of touch.
And like studies show that people, young people are having sex less. Do you think that retreat from sexual experiences is good, bad, or just more like kind of a product of how
It could be a bad thing long term, and if it's overdone, but I think for now it's a good thing. We need to withdraw from it a little bit and focus on bettering ourselves and then picking the right person that's worth having sex with.
online culture has changed and kind of taken up more of the pie?
I think that's a really good point, because you're right. I think you and I are probably around the same age, and yeah, when I was young, partying is what you did. It's what everybody did. I can't really
We
say
need more young people that had just turned in their young 20s to reinforce what our parents saying, hey, it's not cool to party. It's cool to do this. It's cool to do this. But we have these people that are young adults all saying, hey, it's cool to party. We're all partying. Come party with us. You want to be a rebel. And everyone does it. But if rebelling wasn't cool and partying wasn't cool, you wouldn't do it. We got to change the culture. I mean, it takes a above average individual of upstanding morals and discipline and other just gifts to not want to party and experiment and see what's going on. So, but I think if the culture was a lot different, we could definitely, it would be a lot more avoidable. But everyone should say, oh, this is the way it is. These are the problems. This is what we're dealing with. There's nothing we can do. It's like, let's fucking change the culture. Let's have some ideas about what the fuck we can do.
it's a good or bad thing, whether, say young people these days are partying less, having less sex than they used to. I think there's both good and bad aspects of it. What I do think is definitely bad is that
Even if that's true, more young women are selling the pictures of themselves or porn or actual hardcore porn of themselves on OnlyFans. So even if sex overall is going down, that's going up.
it feels like
I feel like
the younger generation these days puts so much importance on a lot of these sorts of behaviors.
You're just sounding so old and out of touch. The younger generation is living it, dude.
I feel like our generation and
I feel like, again,
our parents' generation, mistakes were tolerated. If you kind of got off the rails for a year or two in your early 20s, people just kind of understood. They're like, oh yeah, that happens. It was
I
kind
think that's still kind of there.
of, in fact, that period of life was actually seen as a time to experiment, make some mistakes, embarrass yourself a little bit, and then grow from it. I really do think there is something about growing up with phones and growing up with everything potentially being documented and recorded permanently that has made Gen Z kind of socially paranoid in a lot of ways, right? Because then it feels like there isn't that forgiveness, that if they do kind of have a wayward year or two, or if they do mess up and hook up with the wrong person, they're going to be punished for it. So that's the mentality that I don't think is healthy and definitely makes me sad. And I definitely see that with this guy, Joe. Like, it's kind of there's like an intolerance of, no, she's not allowed to have made mistakes if I'm going to marry her.
Oh, he didn't say that, and you didn't ask him that. He was just trying to get across the point. If she's done this many times, doesn't mean if she made a mistake with one guy or something or two. Like, okay, I had sex with 4 guys, and I only seriously dated 2 or 3 of them, and I had one mistake. Okay, we're willing to forgive mistakes, but 10 or 15 is not mistakes. Like, that's a bad part of your life. Like, I don't know. That's just like a guy who went to prison for 3 years and he's reformed now. And a lot of girls are like, I don't want a guy who's ever been to prison. That's okay. That's within their preference.
Yeah, it feels high stakes in sort of his mindset and attitude about it. Kind of building off of what you said, there is sort of this sense.
Guess what? Sex and making a family and marriage should be high stakes, but we make it act like it's not. You know what they told me when I was in school? You need to worry about going to college. Go to college. Go to college. You'll be a loser and a failure if you don't go to college. No one said, also focus on dating responsibly and focus on a family. Because if you don't make that a priority, you won't accomplish it. You have to make, I think that's the thing with dating. We act like, okay, you got to plan for your career and school and work to be a slave bot to the system. But no, you have to plan for everything you want. So if you want a family and a relationship, you have to plan and put things in order to make a good one. It's not just going to fall into your lap, but that's what we think about dating. I'm just going to date around and fuck around, literally, and find the person that I like the best, and then just that's it. It's like, no, you have to be intentional with dating if you want it to work. But they only really drum that in your head with a career and school. They don't really emphasize, hey, you need to plan with your dating and plan with your relationship. Plan. If you don't, it's not gonna work. But they should. We should preach that more.
Of anxiety. I mean, even if you think about like the Brett Kavanaugh hearings that happened when he was entering the Supreme Court, and we were kind of rewinding all the way back to his high school experience and of like
That's
getting
ridiculous.
drunk with his friends and potentially allegedly committing a sexual crime or a sexual harassment. I don't know if it was rape. I can't remember the specifics, but it was alleged behavior.
If you want to retroactively charge someone for a crime that's 25 years old, fuck you.
Obviously not confirmed, but that turned into a very public thing. And so there was, I think, with this like Me Too moment, this sense.
If he did it, get him at the time. Even if it's you're too ashamed. A year later, 2 years later, 5 years later, 25 or whatever it was, dude. Come on, dude.
Of like every decision I
You were ready
make
to take that to the grave if it
in
happened.
my youth,
Come on.
even in high school. I mean, that can go on to really impact me in a big way. And it was maybe, I think it was rooted in a healthy sense that we need to rewrite the rules of sexual behavior in our culture and to kind of right some of the wrongs of maybe a misogynistic baseline that existed. But then I could also see how it probably made people get freaked out and be like, whoa, I maybe just shouldn't be having sex, or porn or OnlyFans is a safer, lower stakes place to have sexual experiences than IRL. It almost feels like maybe there's just been an overcorrection, like we've thrown the baby out with the bathwater. Like, forget sex, period. It's too scary, too dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, it's ironic though, right? Because guys like this, there's almost, and I don't know if some of these people will make the cut, but there were some people in the circle that their beliefs were just very rooted in kind of religious beliefs around men, women, how men are supposed to behave, how women are supposed to behave. And I would say this guy Joe, it's like he seems to kind of
Were they wrong though?
be bordering on that. Like he doesn't really seem to be approaching it
It's like Myron says, call me an asshole, but you can tell me when I'm a liar. Call me an asshole all you want, but I'll stop when you call me a liar, or something to that effect.
with any sort of willingness to critically argue. Like there's kind of just this almost religious belief of just, this is how women are and this is how they're supposed to behave. In a way, I think the
Women being more sexual in this time is not beneficial for society. Dispute that motherfucking claim. He can't. He's just whining like a little bitch. Fuck you.
point you bring up, because there's absolutely been, I think, second order effects from Me Too. You know, as somebody who talked to a lot of young men in my line of work. Like, I see it. I talk to young guys all the time who grew up during that period, and they're kind of just terrified to say or do anything around a woman. It makes sense that that would potentially give an opening for this kind of old school conservative mindset around sex of like, well, yeah, you're not supposed to be talking to her. You're not supposed to hook up at a party because that's just not right. That's immoral.
So this was with an exchange you had with Michael, also about body count. And
Here's the thing. If you're a dude hooking up at a party, what is the benefit other than 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour of fun, and then it's over? What is the risk? STD, pregnancy, and further drama. Especially if it's just like a one-night stand hookup at a party. There's, if you really are a disciplined man on top of your game, you're like, I don't even need that. But they want us to forego our discipline and be greasy little worms. Like, oh, there's nothing wrong with hooking up with a chick at a party. It's like, yeah, there is. That could be someone's wife. And if you want it to be your wife, why the fuck you hooking up with her at a party? You're automatically making her less appealing to be somebody's wife by hooking up with her. Are any of your friends going to want to date her after they found out you hooked up with her last night? Fuck no. Unless they're fucking losers. So what does that mean? But if you met her last night and, yeah, I saw this chick at the party last night, she was bad. I was thinking about getting her number, or I got her number, but they still might want her too. But if they know you fucked in the first night, it's like no one wants her then. So, you know, it's just like, bruh, what are we talking about? We're just trying to deny everything that's right and good and true. Fuck that. How many times I'm gonna get this video taken down or something? But it's just like, come on, bro. What are we doing?
he wasn't as far as Joe Mari was, where it was like, this is what it is and it matters.
I feel like I'm saying
can't
everything
respect
Myron would say.
His was kind of more like, but it does matter some, right? So
Speed
this
this
is the
up a little
exchange
bit.
you and Michael had.
So if you're a single man and you're meeting a woman, on the list of things that you should be concerned about, that you should be
All right, this guy was bugged out. He was almost giving borderline psychopathic vibes with the way he wasn't blinking and turning his head side to side and just being like creepy. All right, let me rewind. I want to hear what they're actually saying.
It was kind of more like, but it does matter some, right? So this is the exchange you and Michael had.
So if you're a single man and you're meeting a woman, on the list of things that you should be concerned about, that you should be worried about, it is so low on that list that you shouldn't even think about it. You should be primarily concerned is she trustworthy? Do you communicate well? Is she fun to be around? Do you have shared values? Do you see yourselves?
If a woman has, I hate to say this too, because, I don't really give a fuck though. If a woman has over a certain body count, and I haven't done like the math and so, what exactly that number would be, but if she has a certain body count, depending on her age, you can just infer this person is not trustworthy. Any woman that's going to sleep with this many men this quickly, does she respect herself? Is she being clean and giving herself time between partners to make sure she's not spreading disease? If she gets pregnant, she knows whose it is. Like, is she being sexually responsible? We all need to be sexually responsible, even if we are like choosing to hook up before marriage, which I don't think we should. But, what was I gonna say? So, like, nah, bro, you can't just like, dude, this guy's just wrong about every fucking thing. Like, if you meet a girl and she's 20 and she has 20 bodies, it's like, dude, you've been an adult for 2 years. That's like 10 bodies a year. It's like, what are you doing? You're hooking up with a dude pretty much every month, except for 2, but like pretty much every month of the year, new guy you're hooking up with, like. I don't think anyone's going to want that to be their wife because you're fucking a new dude so often. It's like, obviously, you're like, am I supposed to think your sex drive is for new dick is going to go down after you start dating me miraculously? It's like, no, it won't. Like, come on, bruh. Like, come on, dude. What are we talking about?
Going long term together. What she's done in the past is a very, very tiny factor in all of those things.
Yeah.
That is such bullshit. Who a person is matters when you're getting with them because that's everything. Who am I getting with? And what we have to do is judge their past, starting with their most recent and going backwards. It's like, bro, what the fuck are we talking about? He just wants to suspend reality. Oh, their past is like one of the very little things you should be worried about. What the fuck should we be worried about? Okay, their character, their trustworthiness, how much they care about us. How are we going to judge that? Off of what they do and their past. Even if it's when you go out to dinner, you're judging how they treat the waiter and the waitress and stuff. That, you know what that becomes as soon as it happens? The very recent past history. You fuck. You fucking idiot.
So I think that that's interesting, but I would say that I think that there's a lot of evidence to suggest
This
that
guy does seem like a psychopath, though.
body count and sleeping around and having a lot of sexual partners and experiences actually directly relates to a lot of those traits that you mentioned. So I'm specifically thinking about a study or meta-analysis from the University of Utah, which found that the more sort of sexual history that you have, the more body counts that you have, the higher the predictability of divorces. So I think that the specific study that I'm referencing, over if the woman slept with, let's say, over 10 women, is what I think it was, that cohort had by far the highest divorce rate or predictability of divorce. And I think that that's pretty intuitive, right? Like if I had a wife and you had a wife, and my wife slept with 3 women and your wife slept with 40 women, and, you know, we're hanging out,
he mixed up the
and
genders.
let's say the pool guy comes over and he's going to open up our pool. Whose wife do you think has a higher likelihood when the pool guy's 18-pack is out? Whose wife do you think has the higher likelihood of sleeping with the pool guy?
I think the pool guy analogy is a little outdated.
I love it.
I
love it.
Oh, thank you,
But
Dick.
I think he's making an interesting point. I think he meant sleeping with men, not women.
Yes.
Okay, so let's say like there's a misogynist quality to caring about a woman's body count, where it's like, okay, you're overjudging.
I think women care about a man's body count too. That's something I've heard a pushback on Fresh and Fit, even though I feel like they might just be saying that and trying to tit for tat sort of thing. I think it is true to some degree. No woman wants a dude that's just a fucking horn dog that's just gonna be fucking a new chick every night, or at least trying to. Like, it looks bad if your partner is just a thirsty fuck, right? Can we all agree on that? Like, holy shit. That's what I was saying earlier. I think a lot of these things, men and women both want in each other, maybe not to the same degree, and likely not to the same degree. We don't want a woman that's been a whore, and I don't think a woman wants a man who's a man whore, and he's trying to fuck everything that moves. Now, do they want a guy who's a smooth and a player and can get women? Yeah. They want confidence, but they don't want someone who is trying to fuck everything. If your woman is like a 9 or a 10, let's just say she's a total package 8 or 9, where she's loyal and trustworthy and not just looks, but everything. She has the good things. And then you're trying to fuck someone. If you're trying to fuck anyone, you don't know how good or loyal or all that stuff they are. So it's like you're almost degrading her by wanting to fuck something less. So it's like no one wants a whore. Come on, bro.
Her behavior than maybe men's behavior. So that could be true. But there also probably is some data that might give us more insights into how body count correlates to behavior, and marriage is a complex decision. So it should matter some, right?
I mean, the study he's quoting is legitimate, but what's interesting is that the researchers behind that study and a few others, they're not able to prove that it's causal. So, I mean, you could easily argue that people who are more spontaneous and novelty seeking are probably going to have higher body counts, and they're also probably going to be less interested in being monogamous in a marriage.
No shit.
That's not necessarily the body count causing the failure in the marriage.
Correlation might not be the causation.
Exactly. So, I mean, look, and this is one thing that I kept trying to kind of bring back to the guys when I was in the circle, is like, yes, it's a variable, right? And especially if you're coming from a particularly religious background or a conservative background, like it's part of your belief system, right? That sex is sacred and it should be something that is like highly valued, and it's really only safe for your spouse. That's fine. My point is simply like, this isn't something you should be obsessing over. And what was interesting,
I don't think anyone is.
And you probably remember this, is that even when we tried to move on to other claims, guys kept bringing back the body count discussion over and over again. We actually, I think at one point you had to cut them off.
Because you didn't concede with that.
And be like, stick to the current claim.
I always have
So
to do
there-
that. I'm like, we got to stay on the prompt.
So the manosphere in general seems to have a kind of a strange fixation on this, and I personally think that it's really just rooted in
They're not
in
fixated on
insecurity.
it, but critics of the red pill fixate on that point because they know it's an easy seeming gotcha to people that don't like it. When it's discussed, it doesn't sound good and tactful, and they don't flesh it out in a good enough way, and they don't have enough time to do that. So it sounds distasteful when you just spit it out, and these guys know that, so they know that that's something they can bring up that's easy to make it look bad and sound bad. Give me about 30 seconds. I'm going to go grab a snack real quick. My stomach is freaking killing me, and I haven't eaten since lunch. Give me a second. Give me a sec to make sure I recentered.
As
pretty good.
I think everybody has sexual insecurities. With men, it tends to revolve around performance, and whether you're living up to expectations for her. And so if you're with a woman who's been with 20 other guys, like, and you've only been with 2 girls, like, that can be very intimidating for you. But rather than admitting that that's intimidating you, I think a lot of these guys, it's just easier for them to blame the woman and call her a slut and denigrate her for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's just an interesting fixation. I mean, being a man, there is some.
Bro, I think guys have done it and tried and slept with women that have way more bodies than them, and they're not insecure about it. But then when it doesn't work out, and the woman's like, it usually causes problems on the woman's part because they're insecure. They're the ones that are insecure about all the bodies they have, and then they try to make you feel bad. At least this is my experience. I don't know. Other dudes, if you slept with women that have higher body count with you, and you both found out about each other's body count, how did that go? That might be specific, but I think dudes have tried to date chicks with higher body counts, and they see it doesn't work. The woman doesn't respect herself, and she doesn't respect the dude. She doesn't respect herself because she's been a whore, and she's like, why would you want to be with a whore? She views the dude she's been with as losers, including you. That was my experience. If you have a different experience, let me know. But I don't think guys go into these things being insecure, but they come out of it being like, well, I'm not doing that again. Why the fuck would I?
Thing about a woman.
Why don't you two try it? That's what I gotta say. Fuck these guys. Why don't you two losers try it? If it works so fucking well.
In sexuality, where there's kind of a possessive quality that you desire over a woman's sexuality, and obviously,
why don't both of y'all marry a couple of whores?
That just because you maybe feel that urge doesn't mean you should act on it, or doesn't mean that you're a misogynist. But there's some sort of kind of possessiveness that might be innate in men, or rooted in our biology, that kind of elevates this to be a more important statistic than it necessarily needs to be.
Absolutely. So there is quite a bit of research that shows that men tend to be more sexually jealous, and women tend to be more emotionally jealous. So interestingly, if you go out and survey a bunch of men and you say, would you rather your wife sleeps with another man or falls in love with another man, they will mostly say, I would prefer if she fell in love with another man. Whereas women will say, I would rather my husband sleep with another woman than fall in love with another woman. And kind of the evolutionary explanation behind that is,
I would rather. Why would you want your wife to fall in love with someone else? That's retarded. The reason we don't want them to sleep with someone is because they know there's a little bit of feelings involved for a woman. Much less we don't want them to love someone else. Are you retarded? That answer is true for women. It's not true for men. He tried to just flip it. Just because something is true for one, you can't just make the inverse is not automatically true for the other. Women, that's true. They say, would you rather your man fall in love or sleep with a woman? They're like, I'd rather him just sleep with her and not have any feelings. If he falls in love with a woman, even if he doesn't sleep with her, that's no good. But if he sleeps with a woman and he made a mistake and he doesn't love her, that's fine. For a man, we're like, I don't want either one, because if she sleeps with him, there has to be some kind of feelings. At least not for you. She can't have feelings for you and sleep with a dude. That's the thing. As a man, we can sleep with a woman and it doesn't mean anything about our feelings for our woman. Even though it's not good, it's a defection of us. That's not the right word, but it's a problem with us. If a woman sleeps with another man, she cannot love her man. This guy's doesn't know what the fuck is going on. He talks about red pill, but it's like there are red pill points like that are just fucking true. He tried, he halfway had it, but he failed.
Is that, as men, if you think about the majority of human history, as men, there's paternity uncertainty, right? So you're not the one with the...
And most men have died or been too poor to have kids. Like, I think Myron has done the stat a lot on Fresh and Fit, but I think like only a third of men throughout history have had kids. A lot of men are too poor and die and fight in wars or stuff like that, and they're just like, they don't have kids because they're too poor. They die, they fight in a war, they're malnutrition, whatever the fuck.
Baby gestating inside you. So no matter
Mostly
how
war, probably
loyal
not
and faithful and predictable your partner's been, like, there's no guarantee that that's your child that she's carrying and that you're going to end up raising. And so it makes sense from an evolutionary point of view that men would be insecure about a woman's sexuality, about her faithfulness, about her loyalty and trustworthiness. Whereas as a woman, the insecurity is he going to stick around, right? Like, as soon as this baby comes out, is he just going to ghost me for the next girl in the tribe over? Or is he going to help me raise this thing? But to your point, we live in 2026. Even if, regardless of what sort of insecurities or jealousies we might have, that doesn't mean, it's called the naturalist fallacy. It's like, just because we evolved this way doesn't mean we should behave this way. There's plenty of kind of behaviors or features of our psychology that is quote unquote natural, but it doesn't mean it's the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean it's preferable based on maybe our moral codes that we sort of share. That actually makes me think of porn, because obviously that's a wildly different environmental variable than humans evolved with. I mean, sure, there's cave paintings of naked figures, but for the most part, you couldn't access sexual release in such a immediate way as you can now. And so you had a prompt about porn, and your claim was the damage. It's done more damage to men than feminism. So I'm going to jump to that clip and we can go from there. And it wasn't all just men. This exchange was with...
That's actually a good talking point.
Jessica.
Porn use is selective. Not every man uses it, but every man is subjected to feminism in their society, in their workplace, in their home. You can choose autonomously not to watch porn. You can't choose to end no-fault divorce, which is exposing children 70% more likelihood to being abused. Same with the women. Opening the welfare program for single mothers, which is increasing the crime rate, which is affecting all of society as a whole, not just men singularly.
If that were true, then you would expect to see male mental health decline in the most progressive countries in the world, right? There are countries that are even more feminist than we are.
Okay.
Sweden, Switzerland, Germany, Australia, there are lots of them. You don't see the same decline in male mental health that you see here or in the UK.
Are the populations the same in Germany and Sweden as they are in America?
No, there's lots of differences, obviously. But my point is that if feminism was just by and large the problem for men's outcomes,
same.
Sweden, Switzerland, Germany, Australia.
Women opening the welfare program for single mothers, which is increasing the crime rate, which is affecting all of society as a whole, not just men singularly.
If that were true, then you would expect to see male mental health decline in the most progressive countries in the world, right? There are countries that are even more feminist than we are.
Okay.
How is... Damn. How's the mental health in Canada, the UK, Australia, and other first world countries that are feminized where men are fucking not probably that happy?
Sweden, Switzerland, Germany, Australia, there are lots of them. You don't see the same decline in male mental health that you see here
I don't
or in
know
the
about
UK.
that,
Are the
sir.
populations the same in Germany and Sweden as they are in America? and
No,
UK?
there's lots of
I'd love to look that up. I don't know about that with the UK and Australia and the places he named. I would actually think it's the opposite, and I would love to look up some stuff and love to see his stats on that.
differences, obviously. But my point is that if feminism was just by and large the problem for
Well, I think
men's
both.
outcomes,
Yeah.
then you would see a clear pattern across all of the most progressive countries of the world, and you would not see men struggling in non-feminist countries, right?
Well-
So there are countries like China and Japan where men are struggling even more than they are here. That's an indicator that feminism is like not the root cause here.
Okay, but the argument is porn is doing more damage to men than feminism.
Yes.
You can choose as an autonomous adult male who's accountable for your own actions and behaviors not to watch porn and engage in that activity, but you can't choose to avoid feminism in society.
Correct. But it's, if 11-year-olds were getting access to cigarettes and alcohol every day, would you make the same argument that like, well, those 11-year-olds, they can choose not to
Well-
indulge in cigarettes and alcohol?
Well,
or
the
would you tell
difference
would you tell
actually-
the purveyors of the cigarettes and alcohol, get the hell
No,
away
I
from
would
the
probably
11-year-olds?
tell the parents your child isn't autonomous. They can't make their own decisions. They can't consent. So you as a parent need to be more controlling over your child and their behavior. So
Which-
children making an equation between adult male and children is not the same because they're not autonomous like
Right.
adults are.
And it's
That was a good counter argument by her. She's dicing it.
porn is predominantly harming young boys.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, which is why we should probably have age restriction and identification on it.
Okay, so there's agreement that porn could be causing damage, but Jessica's kind of saying that might be rooted in this cultural seed of feminism, which is like what we should really be concerned about. You agree porn is causing damage, that's your claim, but you're like, but wait a second, I don't think that has anything to do with feminism necessarily. Am I kind of seeing that distinction between you two correctly?
My take on her was that she was just a very socially conservative person. And I do think that that is one interesting aspect of kind of the manosphere argument, is that some people come from it from kind of just very conservative political or religious beliefs. Whereas I think others come to it from kind of insecurity, neuroticism. Maybe they've had an ex-girlfriend that screwed them over or something. So she and I personally.
Hold on. So if you had an ex-girlfriend that screwed you over and you want to learn how not to get screwed over again, that's crazy and neuroticism? What the fuck are we saying? Men trying to better themselves and not get fucked over by women is neuroticism. Once again, fuck you, dude. Who the fuck is this guy? Not anyone that I'm gonna fucking listen to. God damn. But see how they put him on here like he's a fucking professional and he's right about everything and he's just like, I've had run-ins with these types before and I don't usually debate bros. It's like, dude, get real.
Personally to it from kind of insecurity, neuroticism.
If you get fucked over by a girlfriend and then you figure out how to correct it, you're insecure, loser, neurotic piece of shit. It's like, no, you went into the relationship with your guard down and giving it an open, fair shot, and you got fucked over. And then you're like, I don't want that to happen again. And a lot of people do go a little hard body into red pill for the first 6 months or year, and then they kind of chill out on it, and they find a middle level ground, and they take the good points from it that they think are good, and they ditch the bad points, and they say, okay, I'm better now. I'm more balanced. I have some standards and boundaries that I'm not going to let someone just run over me. It doesn't mean to be an alpha douchey fag. Where he's like, oh, these people are neurotic, insecure. It's like, dude, get fucked.
Maybe they've had a
You're a feminist pussy. How about that?
ex-girlfriend that screwed him over or something. So she and I personally find the kind of the social conservatives, people like her, harder to sway because at the end of the day, it does
Because they're right and they actually have stuff to refute your bullshit.
just seem to be kind of like
Look at his shirt. It says purpose. Look at what a purpose. What is this? What purpose? This guy's a pompous. That's what it should say.
a value-based belief system. But in her case, I felt
I don't personally stand for anything, so I could just go wherever the wind blows. I don't think having casual sex is bad at all. You shouldn't judge anyone. You should just go wherever the wind blows.
like she was just conflating a lot of different social trends and
There was a lot there.
and-
She threw out a lot of stuff.
yeah, it's like you can't just blame all that stuff on women's liberation. Like it's a lot of different stuff going on at the same time.
Yeah.
I feel like most of the
Surely all the brainwashing couldn't be in one wave that's that strong and actually worked on all that stuff. Oh, you can't just chalk it all up to that. My ass.
anti-feminist arguments when I was going into this, when I was prepping for this, like those were kind of the arguments I was least worried about, just because it's really not hard to just look at the data from a few other countries that are more feminist than we are and be like, oh, they're doing fine. So clearly this is not the problem.
Yeah. Well, something that's interesting
about
to
that.
me. So if we rewind just to the feminist revolution, or at least like the most popular wave of it, which was like the 60s and 70s, and who knows how correct I am about that time frame, but this like sort of hippie era when maybe feminism hit the mainstream. There is this connotation that feminism.
Didn't they have to ban guns in Australia because they were having too many shootings? That doesn't sound like people aren't depressed to me. I don't know that much about Australia, but y'all let me know. When COVID happened and they were on total fucking lockdown, I don't think they were too happy about that. So, I don't know. I don't know about these other countries, but I don't know if men are doing too skippity-doo-dah well anywhere.
Was really tied to.
You can't say what the fuck you want on the internet without someone ridiculing the fuck out of you. I don't know how good we're really fucking doing. We can't question things and correct our errors without being seen as neurotic, insecure, fucking losers. According to you, he didn't say the loser part, but I mean basically just finishing it off. It's like, dude, come get real, dude.
Sex, free sex, birth control, so the decision to have as much sex as you want. Sex in the City then is kind of this like cultural staple of the like early 2000s or the 90s. And so it had more of a provocative or connotation to it than I think maybe the like core tenets
Was that stuff bad though? Can we agree on that?
of feminism necessarily stand for. And I mean, do you think kind of that sexual charge that got tagged onto feminism was a disservice to maybe like the movement?
I definitely think it was a complicating factor. My understanding is that I think around the 90s, feminists almost kind of split themselves into two camps, which they called the sex positive feminists. And then I don't think it was sex negative feminists. I forget what the other term was. But I do remember in the 90s and 2000s, like there were a lot of feminists that were very
And the ones that were sex positive, that's the only kind that's left anymore. The other kind died out.
explicitly, I'm a sex positive feminist, which means I believe women should be able to have as much sex as freely and as often as they want. And was also often pro-pornography.
All feminists believe that now. Trust. And even women that are not quote-unquote feminists, most of them believe that.
Pro-sex work, so on and so forth. It's funny because I was a little bit surprised how many guys...
Remember what I was talking about earlier? I was like, even most people, I suspect, even if you had to question them for a little bit and really dig, you would get them to say that they probably lean this way. Most women, or some women, might, if you really picked and prodded, might go against the unlimited sex thing, but they would feel so uncomfortable and so gross about it, they wouldn't really want to get to that point to admit it. So most women, especially feminists, are going to say they don't have a problem with casual sex and all that kind of stuff. I could be wrong, but it's definitely the majority that way, over 50%. And all feminists, for sure.
In the circle, or how many people in the circle agreed with me on the porn thing. I actually expected a little bit more pushback on the porn side, but it as I recall, pretty much everybody was like, yeah, porn's terrible and is really messing everybody up. I think looking back, if you look back to especially the 60s and 70s with free love and everything, just the proliferation of sexual behavior, there wasn't, you didn't have the internet, you didn't have OnlyFans, you didn't have free porn, like, 8-year-old.
Give me a second. I'm going to change the title real quick and see if we can get somewhere in the algo. I feel like my channel also might be like quote unquote blacklisted after I live streamed the All-Star game a couple years ago and they banned that stream. I feel like they may have kind of like blacklisted my channel and not really given it as much of a push as it should have. Maybe not though. What should I title it? Long ass title. Cool. All right, let's rock on, gang. Whoops. There we go.
Olds getting access to porn. It's I think there was maybe it was different circumstances, and maybe under those conditions some of those beliefs held a little bit more weight. But I think in this day and age, in 2026, it's probably something that we have to reevaluate, or maybe kind of draw new boundaries, I think looking back, if you look back to especially the 60s and 70s with free love and everything, just the proliferation of sexual behavior.
Do y'all like, if y'all see this after, do y'all like closed captions or not? Let me know. I've been messing around with it in a few of the lives the last time I went live, but that's been a couple months ago at this point that I did the closed captions. But I'll put them on for like the second half, and y'all let me know if y'all catch a rebroadcast, or if y'all in here right now, do y'all prefer closed captions being on or not? I want to make them a little smaller though. See if I can.
There wasn't, you didn't have the internet, you didn't have OnlyFans, you didn't have free porn, like 8-year-olds getting access to porn. I think there was it was different circumstances, and maybe under those conditions some of those beliefs held a little bit more weight. But I think in this day and age, in 2026, it's probably something that we have to reevaluate, or maybe kind of draw new boundaries or limitations around. Because it's just the proliferation and the extent that it has kind of infiltrated mainstream society. I don't think anybody really anticipated how far it's gone.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, there's so much. I mean, and it's paired with the attention economy. I mean, what's more attention grabbing than
sex,
pedal to the metal, sexually explicit content. I actually remember as
I would say the truth is coming in pretty damn strong right about now.
A kid, maybe I'm trying to think of how old I was. This is probably 5th grade, just not even knowing the word porn, like not knowing what it meant, but hearing so much chatter about it culturally that I just typed like PORN, and then it was just like, like never the same again. But you're right, there is this unique thing about there's pressure from both sides. I think traditionally liberal people are kind of questioning what their comfort level is around like what should be societally normal around sex, or sexually charged imagery online, and how accessible should it be, how common do we want OnlyFans to be as a profession. But then on the conservative side there really is this like really strong pushback to maybe even outlaw or criminalize porn altogether and kind of put it in the same category as IRL sex work. And so there's pressure on that issue coming from both sides. What do you think is like the action that should be taken around porn? Like if you have to kind of carve out your nuance.
It feels to me that the industry has evolved and morphed so much in the last 10 years that it's almost like I feel like regulators should come at it from first principles all over again, because it just doesn't, the porn you and I grew up with is just not, doesn't really, it's not that anymore. To your point though about like kind of being hit from both sides, no pun intended, is this is a subject where I feel like the left and the right like both have part of it right, and and I do think they miss what the other side gets right. And
that I agree with that for sure. Both sides just miss the other side, especially the left more than the right when it comes to this. Yeah.
And I personally come from this stuff purely from a psychological point of view and a point of view of just like what maximizes.
That's not true, bro.
Human flourishing and well-being. But if you look at the research and the data, I mean, it is.
Can you say women being casual with their bodies, and men for that matter, is better for society? Dude, what the fuck? Come on, bro.
Children who grow up in stable two-parent households with stable family structures are much healthier. They're more well-adapted. They're more well-adjusted. People who are in stable marriages, monogamous marriages, they are happier for longer periods of time. They tend to live longer. Like they're healthier. It's just across the board. All of the data around family, like having a consistent, stable family structure, is good. And so I think that's the right gets that correct. And I think the right is correct to very much push kind of family values into the cultural discourse and not let that go. On the other hand, if you look at pushing on people's sexual insecurities, demonizing sexuality, that's not healthy either. Like that doesn't really result in well-functioning, stable people either. So it is like I do think the left has a point that
we got to tell the truth. There are consequences. It's not the good way to be.
This doesn't make you a bad person. Like if you go through a phase in college or in your 20s where you sleep around and you're kind of a wild child, like that's okay. You can do that, right? If you mess up every once in a while and cheated on your ex-boyfriend, like you're not a horrible person. Like we all have to kind of learn our own sexualities and learn our own relationship patterns. And so I think kind of the leniency or the forgiveness on the left for sexual behavior is also well placed.
It's
But
untamed. It's not
the
good.
problem is those two things are very much in tension with one another, right? Like as a culture, it's hard to land the plane on both of those simultaneously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think there's this guy, James Fishback. I'm not sure how familiar you are with him.
When you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. If you don't have a strict line of what you're going to adhere to, where's the line? You just keep going and going. And that's what we see with this over-sexualization of everything. We don't have a strict line, and we're just going crazy with it.
He's running, I think, for office. I don't know. But he's been on the show, not in the center, but he's been in the circle. He's, I think, running for office in Florida, and he's proposing this thing called a sin tax, which is, that's like as Christian nationalist as you could get. It's like, we want to tax things, behavior that we see as sinful. Who decrees what is a sin and not? Obviously, you need some sort of holy book to do that. So I think on its face, it's hard to sell that. But I am surprised by how much there is a movement growing of really wanting to rid the existence of pornography entirely. And me being kind of a very more centrist kind of natured person, my instinct is there should probably be such thing as a healthy relationship with porn. The same way there is a healthy relationship with junk food or violent movies, horror movies. You get your rocks off in some degree, but you should have some awareness that it can roll into a destructive habit, or instill negative things in your mind that maybe you don't want there to be. There's also addiction. I think addiction is kind of its own thing. But on the flip side,
I don't think there's a positive to porn. That's like saying, oh, it's okay to hate your mom sometimes. It's like, no, dude, it's not. It's like there's good snacks you can have, but junk food is usually always bad. Do we do it? Yeah, but is it good ever? No. There's a better snack we could eat. What the fuck are we saying? You can have a healthy relationship with junk food. We don't stand for something, we'll fall for anything.
I agree with you.
I feel like I'm going to keep saying the same old things, but you get the gist of it. I don't agree with these guys. They're real on the fence. I had a conversation with a family member recently about being on the fence, and I just said they said they enjoyed being on the fence, and I was like, enjoy it while you can, but I'd watch out for that. I wouldn't talk about that like you enjoy it, but because, like I just said, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse with that, but I think we all know deep down if we're doing bad, if we're doing good, and most of the time, most people want to do the right, good thing, and we don't really want to sit on the fence, do we? I think everyone has goals they want in life, and they have ambition for things, and we want good things. We want our family to succeed. We want good things to happen. We want to spread love and joy. We want to build positive things and positive relationships in our life, and we want to just sit on the fence with our best friend as far as how we treat them. Do we want to sit on the fence with how we treat our mom? Do we want to sit on the fence that just means you're idle. Do we want to be idle? I think we all want to be pushing in a positive direction. So these guys not really standing for anything and just kind of want to be the guys that the left and the centrists can smooch on and say, oh, good job, y'all are really standing up for freeness and casualness and showing those red pill meanies that they're fucked up and that they need to just go back and with all their rules and go away. It's like, well, as we see with people being sexually promiscuous, it doesn't lead to a good society. So I'm going to leave it on that. I could yak and say a lot of the same stuff. Let me know if you caught the live. Say what's up. More than likely, let me know what's up with the rebroadcast. Let me know if you want me to review the original thing with this guy debating the 20 Manosphere guys. Or let me know if you want me to react to something else. I want to get more lives going. Every time I go live, I say that, and I never do any better. But I'm glad I did this one. It kind of broke a cold streak for me. So Maybe I'll be back with more live soon. And who knows? Me and Joey do have several songs we've been cooking up. So there might be some new music soon. And if you haven't heard our stuff, go check out Syntax Boys. We got Syntax Boys Business 1, Syntax Boys Business 2, our first 2 mixtapes. And then we have a bunch of other just songs that we uploaded before that are, I guess, more or less just singles or whatever. Check out that stuff if you want to. Let us know. And yeah, I'll see y'all back here soon. It's OG from Where There's Smoke. I'm out.